I'd never quite seen a better example of this than 1 year ago. Ever since I was like 10, I've always wanted to be able to release my own game, but I've never quite had the motivation to carry any across the finish line. I've been close a couple of times with a few games that I thought really could make it, but there was always an issue with them. That was until I received this amazing message, something that really put everything into perspective for me. It's some of the most heavenly words I've ever read.
Fishbait smells. He is stink. Stop the berry go. Bro, you suck. You can't even make games.
Now, being the distinguished gentleman that I am, I was not going to let this slide from him. So naturally, the only option I had was to lock in. And thus, this is my 1 year benchmark on my game Space Base. This game has become something of a passion project for me over the last year. It was planned to be a tower defense game where you build guns over a rotating planet to fend off enemies in all directions, but over time this evolved to different types of towers, enemies, bosses, planets, and more, and it's become the biggest project I've ever taken on. Now, the towers in the game are how you protect yourself and what you'll spend most of your time and money upgrading. My biggest goal when making the designs for these is that I didn't want to be too conventional, and I wanted to maybe throw some goofy stuff in, but overall just have original designs. Obviously though, we do have to have some grounded towers, so we have things like the sniper, which are a sniper. Because obviously you kind of need a control when you have things like a banana gun and a boxing glove as your towers. You kind of need something to stay grounded, you know? Now for release, I have around 50 towers planned, 12 of which are already in the game's demo, which you should try playing by the way. I do tend to promote towers the most with shorts though, so if you want to see when I release them, go ahead and hit subscribe or follow my Instagram as well. When it came around to the enemies though, my creativity kind of started to run out. For the minute, most of the enemies are basically just different spaceships, even though one of them technically is a worm, but kind of a spaceman, we don't really know what's happening there. But genuinely, I've just had a bit of trouble coming up with unique concepts. I have a few on the back burner, but because it's such a unique attack pattern that I haven't really seen anywhere else, it's hard to get inspiration for this kind of thing. But that's not to say that there haven't been quite a few gems, especially in the form of the mini-bosses and bosses. For instance, Astro, the first mini-boss I ever designed and who's currently the cover art for the game, became one of the best inside jokes me and some of my friends have ever had.
LeBron James.
Scream if you love space.
Astro.
This game has also been the first time I've ever actually made a boss fight, and I'm not talking like a mini-boss like Astro. I mean a proper boss fight with boss music, a health bar, multiple phases and all of that. Honestly, I couldn't really be happier with Hubert, apart from the fact that he's kind of broken in the testing phase right now, but that's details. Speaking of, I have also started making this game's own music. Right now, the track you've been hearing throughout is actually not mine. I yoinked it. It's actually from a person called Moya, I think. That's how you pronounce it. Sorry if I butchered that. However, my friend Saturn has been making music for the game. Right now they've made 2 boss tracks. And ideally, they're going to carry on to make the rest of the music for the game. So for now, that's earned them 5 huge booms on the boom meter. Boom! Anyway, over all of the YouTube videos, devlogs and everything I've seen about releasing a game, one of the first things recommended is to put up a Steam page for it. When releasing your game, Steam uses one main feature to assess how a game should perform in the algorithm, that being how many wishlists it has. So it helps to set up a Steam page earlier just so you can start building them up as fast as possible. It's said that you want to aim for roughly 10,000 wishlists on a game for it to truly do well in the algorithm, and naturally, as the talented and charismatic individual I am, I've kind of slacked on the promotion part, but hey ho. Anyway, after setting up a rudimentary Steam page, there's not much more you can do on that front without having a game to show, so I'm not exactly happy with all the art and assets I've got for it. I've left it be for now until I have a bit more content to show. Now, there's one more thing you can do to customize your experience you have in the game, which is changing up your planets or game mode. I've tried to add enough variety so that every game can have its own combination of difficulty, planet and game mode, where there's around 20 combinations in the demo, and for the main game there's going to be at least 200, with about 10 planets, 6 plus modes, etc, etc. The planets themselves can vary with size, income rate, healing rate, and other different factors like how many moons they have, and loads of other interesting gimmicks I'm kind of trying to work on. I'm not really getting very far yet. The game modes are where the fun comes in though. Right now there are 3 in the game. There's Glass Globe, which is essentially your hitless game mode. It divides your health by 10 at base, which essentially gets you one shot by everything. There's Blueprint mode, where all of your towers are random, so you can use as many as you want from all through the game. You just can't control which. My favourite is definitely Madness though. Right now it combines Blueprint and Glass Globe, and in the future when more game modes get added, they'll get added to it. So essentially, it's an amalgamation of absolute chaos, and it's really fun to play, which is not what I expected. The one part of this I am struggling with is coming up for game mode ideas. I've got a couple in the log, but I want maybe 3 or 4 more, so if you have any ideas, leave them in the comments. As of right now, the game is in version 0.5.3, and the plans for the rest of the game are basically all completed. Ideally, the amount of content like planets, towers, enemies and more are going to over double by the time I release the game. And right now I think I have most of the game's core systems completed, so all I need to do is just put the content in. The goal for a release window which I've had has changed quite a few times over the course of deving. Originally, I thought it was only going to take a couple of months to make, and I was aiming to do it by the end of last summer. Oh, how I was wrong. Then, after that, I ended up saying December, which, in all fairness, is when I ended up releasing the main demo, which means I was kind of right. But as of right now, knowing what I do and how much more I have to do, I'm aiming to do it by the end of the coming summer before I go off to college, and right now, I'm on track to reach that, but you never know what's going to happen. Going back to what I said about the demo, it would be really good if you could all give it a go and give me some feedback. It's completely free on Steam, and while you're there, why not drop a wishlist while you're at it? I make no guarantees, but if you don't wishlist, I might send Ruby here to beat you up. You have been warned. But that's pretty much everything I've done in my year of deving. I'm hoping to keep you posted more on how the dev goes, and if you want even more updates, you can just join the Discord in the description. Thanks for stopping by guys, and I'll see you soon.